We're going to have some fun today.
5, 4, 3.
It's showtime.
Good morning, Vietnam! Welcome to the party, pal!
See you at the party, Richter.
I didn't kill my wife! I don't care!
Get away from her, you bitch!
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
You did not gonna say that, did you?
What I do have are a very particular set of skills.
The dude abides.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Inconceivable.
Little Dallas multipass.
This is a tasty burger.
Please.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
I'm the bad guy?
And Hulk, smash.
I can speak with an English accent.
Hit the hash pipe and join the National Guard. I could be elected president.
You went over my helmet?
What would you prefer? Yellow spandex? I know, right?
The list is in the open!
Hey, where are the white women at?
They're digging in the wrong place.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Are you not entertained?
Second start of the ride. And straight on till morning.
Meow.
You son of a bitch.
21 gigawatts!
Wax on, wax off.
Oh my goodness, I am sporting a tremendous woody right now.
Bartender is the aristocrat of the working class.
You want to flip 6-3 whole play and you could score.
Cover me.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
On this team, we fight for that itch.
It might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
No ticket.
No ticket.
I get older, they stay the same age.
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. He's 15.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies.
Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and always with me, my hetero life mate. Oh, my feelings. How are you, sir?
This movie's awful.
What is the Reel McCoy, you might ask? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go watch a movie, you watch it, come back to us, and we break it down for you. This month, kind of a celebration to comic books with probably the worst comic book adaptations ever made. Well, not all of them, but some of them.
Not all of them, because we didn't get Dolph Lundgren's Punisher in there.
And some others that will not be mentioned. I'm looking at you, Black Widow. Anyway,
No, we've been dumpster diving all month.
Oh, yes. We're definitely dumpster diving the entire month. But it's okay because, as we said in the past, we kind of want to highlight good movies, maybe movies that are like for maybe not for our generation, but the more younger generation, maybe a movie that they've heard about or saw a poster of or mentioned people talk about quotes from other movies and all that stuff. And they don't quite know where to go to and what to unravel. And there are great movies that we haven't covered yet on the show that we would like to highlight. But sometimes we're allowed to be in the mud with all the pigs and have some slop ready-made to like chew on. We don't particularly like to do it, but you know.
I do think this is because you wouldn't give me one, a trauma month, or two, the worst films ever made month, which
we will make time for all of them. Not all of them, but we will make some months for them. Not to worry. We've got some, need to taste the caviar along with the pig slop. We got to. Anyway, it's all a part of the movie-going experience.
Well,
hopefully,
we have with us, we have caviar and fine champagne, and we have Funyuns and Mountain Dew.
Yes, Funyuns and Mountain Dew. All right, cool. Along with that, we covered some of the worst adaptations and sort of planned, not planned, maybe planned. let's say it's planned and be done with it. We have Rise of the Silver Surfer, kind of coinciding with the new release of Fantastic Four First Steps. If you watch this in the future, of course, that's the correlation. I'm not certain we kind of did it that way, but the scheduling gods say it so. All right.
Yes.
First, let's say hello to the chat. Say hello to Kaladin, Paul Harley, James Mendoka. How you doing, sir? Griffin, Kalekioki, and all the rest of the lurkers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And everybody who is going to join us later, you're welcome. Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. How many times did you manage to cram this movie into your brain?
Well, the good news is that, as we talked about it, soup to nuts, it's an hour 35. That's including post credits, and we're talking like the end of the
There was
credits.
post credits?
There is one post credit scene with Nora and Rad waking up in space because that was going to be the setup for the third film. Yeah.
My copy was 1 hour, 30 minutes, no.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
no
it's right after that, because it's very, very, very short.
Okay.
But really, like, actual runtime is 88 minutes. It's tight 88. It's done.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get to that. So did you actually manage to watch it twice?
Yes.
Because my brain would not allow me to watch it more than once.
I had to, just because I was like, well, I got kind of pissed off about the whole how they fucked with the Silver Surfer as a character, and also Dr. Doom, the portrayal again. Even though, again, rest in peace,
Julian, yeah.
Julian McMahon. Dr. Christian Troy from Nip Tuck will always be the role that he was designed to play, and perfect, regardless of how bad some of those seasons were. But yeah, he was not a good Doom. He at least got some of the pathos right, but at the end they made Dr. Doom make several puns, and I'm like, no.
Anyway, we are gonna start the show with a little segment we always start the show with. It is Behind the Screens.
Sound production, take 2.
Best looking scene in the movie, but it made a lick of sense, but okay.
Yeah.
All right. Behind the Screens is where we turn to all my feelings with a little bit of help from me. And we get the lowdown on everything that is behind the scenes, production-wise. Take it away, sir.
So, just so we talked about this backstage. There are a lot of disparate sources of information about this film, so it's going to be all over the place. So if I don't get to a point, I might be getting to one that you have. Just haven't gotten to it.
My notes are, in terms of a chronological order, all over the place too. So don't worry about it.
So I think, by the way, the most important thing is it is actually based off of the comic books. Kinda.
Yeah.
A little bit, but mostly about the Galactus trilogy, Fantastic Four issues 57 through 60, I believe.
No,
and then
that's the Doom part. Comes from 57 to 60.
Yeah, but yeah, all of it is combined.
Okay.
And then also the Ultimate Extinction event from the Marvel Ultimates universe.
Okay. Yeah,
which
you mentioned that.
Which is very, very, very different. In fact, there was one line later, one of Reed Richards' speeches about him being the nerdy boy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's directly from the Ultimates line.
Oh, okay.
Like,
the whole quarterbacks and nerds, jocks and nerds. Okay.
Directly from the comic.
Wow. It's as if they copied Revenge of the Nerds for some reason. I don't know. Kind of reminded me of that, but yeah.
So speaking of Galactus, this is the weirdest thing is, filming started in, was it August of 2016?
2006.
2006, yeah. And sorry. It was set for a release in July
2007. Yeah.
2007, right? But they didn't have a concept of Galactus until March?
No, they couldn't agree on a Galactus design
yeah.
until March. And by then, they decided a cloud.
Yeah.
Why?
Like fart cloud Galactus. At least like at the end there, when they did the pan in, they could have had the Galactus like his helm there. You know,
it was briefly as a shadow on Saturn, I think, where he did the stupid, oh, I'm moving, so I'm actually brushing away all the rings, which was a minute detail that nobody even remembers. But when I saw it today, I was like, what the fuck now? What did you do?
It's
okay.
Weird. It's weird.
Yeah. And a little tidbit. Earlier today, I was on a show with Pop Culture Minefield, and Gary mentioned, well, they only showed his machine. And I said, no. It kind of looks like there's a machine behind the cloud, but it's still just the cloud.
It's just like a red amorphous blob, essentially in the center. Yeah, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
But speaking of that too, they weren't even certain that the Silver Surfer was going to really have any speaking lines at all until they brought Lawrence Fishburne on in April.
Yeah.
3 months before the film's gonna be released. What?
Yep. Not only that, they didn't even tell Doug Jones that they're dubbing him.
Hold on. No. I'm gonna get to the Doug Jones in a second, because this one, I'm like, oh, good on you, Doug. Oh, thank you. But that also, the Galactus ending was done in post.
Yeah.
Completely in post. They didn't have an ending for the movie when they wrapped.
Yeah. That's weird.
But
even though they did shoot a few things that kind of make it so they can post it later. But yeah, if you can actually go back and look at it scene by scene, some of the scenes, the Silver Surfer has no people around him.
Yeah.
And because he's animated for the most part, then they could do whatever and put some lines in there for whatever and just ADR it.
Yeah. So speaking of Mr. Jones, this is the second film in his career where he was completely overdubbed. As a comic book character. The second.
Third. He was dubbed in both of the Hellboy. So 2. That's 2. And the third is Silver Surfer.
No. Hellboy and that was after this.
Hellboy 2 was after this?
I do believe so.
Well, he was dubbed in Hellboy 2.
Yeah, I know, but completely overdubbed.
Yeah.
So he actually fought and had his contract changed completely, where there's a stipulation that he can no longer like if it's in English, he's not to be overdubbed ever.
Yeah. And it's been like that since every
Calvin,
project.
thank you. I knew I was right. Hellboy 2 was in 2008.
Maybe it's because he already shot Hellboy 2 by that time, but I don't know. Okay. But I know in Hellboy 2, he was also overdubbed. So maybe because it was already in the contract that they could do it, maybe in the next one. Okay. So I don't know. Because I saw it in 2 different places. In 3, actually, but okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
go ahead. I'm overthinking
also, if you want to see
something.
Doug Jones in a fantastic role, watch What You Do in the Shadows. He's the Baron. It's fucking it's phenomenal. It's hilarious. Taika Waititi was not involved, thankfully.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on. So a lot of moving stuff. So at the time, this was the first film to utilize the new CGI, basically like the entire system that was developed by Weta. This is the first film to utilize it. So when you see a lot of stuff from the late aughts to about mid 2010s, they were all using Weta's base software in order to make these things happen. So for better, for worse, some are really good, some are really bad.
Yeah, Johnny being the rubber man in London Not
so good.
Not
Also,
so good.
But compare that to some modern Marvel films recently, besides the new Fantastic Four, you're like, okay, that's pretty good.
I don't know. I like the new CGI in the Fantastic Four, but
No, I'm saying like now it looks good. But look at like Thor: Love and Thunder, how bad that was.
I did not watch Thor: Love and Thunder.
It's bad. It's really bad.
I heard my wife was watching it for free on a plane back from Canada, and midway through, she just shut it off.
Checked out. That's a very Mrs. Neff thing to do, though. She's like, nope, I've had enough of your bullshit. I'm done.
You don't even want to know what she said to me on the latest Fantastic Four movie. She was pissed about the Silver Surfer. And I was like, really? It's like, yeah.
So, okay. So originally the film was supposed to actually have Nick Fury, not General Hager.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But even though there were also not only just the Reed spiel before, but some of Hager's lines were direct lines that Nick Fury said in the Ultimate Extinction event in the comics. So, yeah, they really wanted him, but Marvel said we're not licensing that at the time because they were already working.
They were already planning on doing it, which is weird because the producer of this movie is Avi Arad, who also produced Iron Man, and he worked for Marvel Studios too.
Yep.
So this movie is so weird, man. This movie is so weird.
So Doctor Doom, if you wonder why he got basically got rejuvenated when the surfer attacked him, it was because the studio hated the makeup effects on Julian McMahon's face.
Yeah, that's why they covered him up when he initially revived.
Yeah, even with the mask off and like they were to take it off, he still wore the cloak until he hit him with it. Like, oh, he's healed now.
Yeah.
And then combined with that too is the combination of powers. It's a weird, loose adaptation of the Super Skrull from the original Fantastic Four series, because he stole all of the Fantastic Four's powers to fight them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they kind of did the same thing in the Marvel Universe Secret Invasion, which we don't talk about because, oh my God, that was
I heard Emilia Clarke failing yet again in a role.
Yeah.
Thank heavens I don't even watch Marvel anymore.
No, you're good. Yeah. So Michael Chiklis, God bless the guy. He finally caught a break.
Yeah.
Because before, it used to take him 6 hours to get into makeup, and he could not get out of makeup until they were done shooting for the day.
Yeah.
They redesigned the suit for this, so it would only take an hour and a half, and he was able to actually take parts of it off during breaks, and it had better ventilation. So, like, he wasn't just like, I'm going to die.
Yeah. There's a reason why a lot of like the Hulk is essentially a big CGI thing, because they can do a lot with it. So the decision is you don't want to make your actor suffer, but that essentially that technology was sort of perfected in Avatar, of all things, James Cameron's Avatar, and then commonly used everywhere.
Could you imagine Daniel Day-Lewis playing the thing of like, no, I want 7.5 hours in makeup. I want to suffer because I want to know how the thing really feels.
Damn, Daniel Day-Lewis is fucking the thing. Yee. Matt. All right, cool. Next.
Yeah, imagine Bill the Butcher, but made out of rock, essentially.
I don't even want to think of it.
That's what that would be.
I know. That's why I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're going to talk about some stuff that really comes up for really Jessica Alba. because I really feel bad for Jessica Alba. We talked about that backstage. There is a story where the director flat out came to her and said, "Listen, you're not pretty when you cry.
We need you to be pretty, so we will CGI your
in your
tears."
tears."
That's so dumb.
That on top of that,
so dumb.
From playing Sue Storm before, the bleach had destroyed her hair, so she had to wear multiple different wigs throughout this entire thing.
Yeah.
And this is going to be something that Meph and I talk about back and forth. Not only the makeup stuff, I'll let you get to later when we actually get to actual scenes. But the blue eye contacts, she does not look like a person.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit because they were trying to get to a look, but it just doesn't work.
No,
and if they would have kept it would have they would have kept Jessica Alba's eyes, like dark brown or whatever she's got, would have been much better, much more natural.
Yeah, because the one thing too, mentioning Doug Jones, it reminded me of her eyes, how alien they look like Abe Sapien's eyes in Hellboy.
Yeah,
it looked like a completely like that. You're not human.
Yeah. Well, Doug Jones isn't really human. Have you looked at Doug Jones?
Yes. Well, yeah. Again, watch What We Do in the Shadows. Him playing the Baron. Yes, he
kind of looks like the helicopter man in Mad Max 2. I don't remember his name. The Australian actor.
Yes,
they
he does.
Both have that weird looking.
They're
large,
very gaunt.
Long that long face.
So we have that, and during production, they had this whole thing where Fox approached the Franklin Mint for a marketing strategy. This is a funny story. To release a limited edition of 25,000 quarters with the back with the Silver Surfer on the logo. The Franklin Mint flat out declined.
Okay, why? To sell it where? In like McDonald's?
No, for like marketing.
Yeah, I know. Like marketing in McDonald's or something?
Well, they were going to give them away in different kind of contests.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of, that sort of thing.
So it'll be like in those plastic squares things that you kind of like keep it
collector's
as
edition forever.
Edition.
Yeah, and they come with this certificate of authenticity and all that shit.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So we have originally Dr. Doom in this was supposed to be a Doombot, not actually Dr. Doom.
Okay.
It's a comic book thing. But the major issue is they could not get it to work right, and it also would cost even more money.
Because CGI thing.
CGI. It would be way too expensive.
Thank you, Paul. Bruce Spence. Thank you.
Yes, yeah. We do have the bit that I find really funny is, Captain Ray, played by Bo Garrett.
Okay.
The model that Johnny's into, the model actress.
Okay.
Yeah. She's actually Nova in the comics. That character becomes Nova.
Like the name matches with Nova?
Yes. That individual becomes Nova and becomes part of the the leader of the Nova Corps. And at one point in time, she actually becomes the Herald of Galactus for a short period of time.
I thought it was a throwaway character. I didn't even know her name.
There's a big tie-in. That's why she's so really impertinent there. Also, too, they make several jokes there too. You should be a model.
Oh,
when Johnny talks to her, because she was at the time she was very popular. And also there's the joke too when the only line that was not in Franklin Richards' whole quarterback speech was I'm engaged to the hottest woman in the world.
Okay.
The reason why that line was actually changed prior to it was recorded because Jessica Alba just won Sexiest Woman Alive.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought so.
Yeah. Yep, Monkey Jeeves got it. Yep, that's Frankie Ray. Yep.
All right. Anything else?
So a lot of stuff. I wanted to kind of breach on the sequels that were proposed because they kind of sounded interesting.
Okay, so before you go into that, one, the force scene where they use the tachyon device, it's the same forced location that they used in all three of the Fox's X-Men movies.
Yep.
Kerry Washington's character, something Masters, she had more lines and she had more of a part in the movie that got scrapped because they wanted to keep the script as tight as the studio wanted to keep the script as tight as
that was
possible.
actually supposed to go into the sequel because it's supposed to be more
about
and Alicia, and then also how Jessica Alba, give her credit, she actually read the comic books. She wanted she wanted it to lead into the birth of Franklin Richards, was going to be part of the end of like the middle of the third movie.
Yeah, and a scene where she kind of hints the fact that she's pregnant to the press. There was a scene like that, was also shot and cut.
Yeah.
The Andre Braugher, who played General Hager, he wasn't the first choice.
No, he wasn't. He was very far from the first choice.
Very far from the first choice. So it was Eddie Murphy, Denzel Washington, Bernie Mac, and Martin Lawrence. And Brower had to actually leave a sort of a
he was going to be an ER. Yeah.
Yes, he had a supporting cast in ER. He was like the head guy.
Well, the thing too is,
I another head guy.
Take this character seriously because Hager. The only thing I'm thinking of is Commander Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like that's all I'm thinking of whenever he says that, and whenever he talks to Reed or any of the Fantastic Four, it's like he's talking to Jake from Brooklyn. Like it's like
kind of. And Fishburne was brought in originally not to voice the Silver Surfer. The Silver Surfer was supposed to be mute. He was supposed to be Galactus. And then they decided Galactus is mute or non-existent because he's a cloud.
Yeah, didn't Fishburne say too he preferred it that way?
Couldn't find any corroborative evidence about that.
I think that's
and then of course he went on and did other MCU stuff.
So
that's basically what I've got to add.
Okay, so the other stuff that's really funny about the proposed sequels was Djimon Hounsou was going to come on and play Black Panther, which at the time would have actually been really fucking good. I think that's really good casting.
I think so.
Yeah.
But, Djimon Hounsou kind of got relegated to do a lot of supporting stuff in many movies. It's a shame, really, but he kind of got turned into like this working Hollywood actor rather than just being a star.
And I know this sounds like a condemnation, but it's not. He is the African version of Joey Pants. That's what that.
Maybe. I wouldn't put him in that position. He does a lot of projects because he's just the working actor.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
that's what I was thinking about Joey Pants too, where you think about like, well, wait, yeah, he wasn't that. Wait, yeah, he wasn't that.
Exactly. He was not in a fucking rabbit suit in a Tank Girl movie, even though I thought he was. Anyway.
No, that was not Joey Pants.
That was not Joey Pants. All right. Anything else before we kind of jump into the first game?
The only thing I did to say about the sequels is the fact that the actual director was really actually into the mythos of the Fantastic Four, and he did want to expand it to like the Negative Zone and Annihilus and a whole bunch of like really like big cosmic threats that even though they're like, because they already face Galactus, like what's next? Like, oh yeah, Annihilus and the Negative Zone, all that stuff, which would have been cool, which I think we're going to start getting to see now in the Marvel when they collide everything together, bringing the mutants in. And I think what's going to be the heralds of it are going to be heralds. Funny. I know. Is going to be the Fantastic Four in the MCU.
All right, we'll see.
So.
We'll see. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I will go that far with them. Actually. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a little bit of a break as we play our first game of the night. It is called Missing Marquee. Missing Marquee is where we take 10 posters of movies that have their text written off. We display them, and you guys in the chat, with a minor help from All My Feelings, have to guess which movie this is. Don't give them anything until they actually not get it.
Oh, I like this movie. It's dumb as shit, and there is a definitely a defecation scene concerning like Ethiopian food, I do believe.
I don't remember. James is like, I'm ready.
I know what it is. Well, and James got it.
And James has got it. It is Along Came Polly. I love Philip Seymour Hoffman in that movie so much. This is an oldie, but a goldie.
Oh, it's so
and a
good.
very, very, very interesting poster. And I think this is definitely not the original poster.
It is not, no.
But I liked it so much.
I think what we have here is a failure to communicate.
And it is, of course, Cool Hand Luke. Correct. Kind of put me off eggs for a while.
Ugh.
When I was a kid.
Now you have to be particular. Which one is this?
This, yes. Yes. Which one is it? It is definitely
James is right. Yeah, it's not
Ghost
Spirit of
Rider. It
Vengeance.
is the first one. Yeah. It's the first one. Ghost Rider 1. Correct, Paul. I hated this movie
I don't
so
know
much.
why the hell they made this adaptation.
You know what the main problem is? They showed the bad guy's face, where in the whole point
Of the show is like you've
of
never
the show
seen his
is that
face,
you
yeah.
don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Kaladin's
It
got
is. Kaladin's got it. Everybody's got it.
No,
James got it.
Inspector-
Paul's got it. Everybody's got it. It is Inspector Gadget. And like I said, you showed the bad guy where... fuck it.
That
Never
was the
mind.
entire mystery of it.
I know.
I'm sorry, this movie vastly overrated.
I know. I don't particularly like it. Even though it is a Clint Eastwood directed movie. It's like...
Yeah. James got it. And also, James, you're right about too. He did not have the voice to play Dr. Claw. No.
Nope. Because it needed to have this... I don't even have his gravelly voice, but it need to be like gravelly. Super gravelly.
I would say I think that's my third favorite Hitchcock.
Vertigo.
Yeah.
Psycho.
Yep.
And The Birds. Thank you, Kaladin. Perfect. Awesome. Next. Kind of a weird poster.
Oh, this one's fun.
But look at it. Look at it. Look on the whole poster and you will know the name. This is not the main poster. This is not the main poster. But I love this one. Paul has got it. This is The Fog, the original
Fog,
Carpenter Fog. I unabashedly love this movie, even though it sucks. Like,
it is not a good movie at all.
This is not a fun movie, but it actually made me love Robin as an actor. And the reason why the plane is in the fucking thing is hilarious. Interesting posters today. I agree. The original poster, by the way, is a little baby with a big giant globe. Griffin's got it. It is Life According to Garp.
Fuck you, man.
Why? Why? Fuck you. It's a very nice poster. Movie, it's okay.
Oh, it's fun. Oh, it's dumb as shit.
It's dumb, but it's a good action popcorn movie. It is. Don't be mistaken. It's a good popcorn action movie. Paul's got it. Griffin's got it. It is Universal Soldier correct. Last one.
Oh, come on. This is too easy.
Stupidest movie, and I love it.
It gave away
so
like
stupid.
This gives it away 100% if you've seen the movie once. Yeah. Callan has already got it. It's wanted.
Yeah, it's wanted. Correct.
Bending bullets. Yeah.
Didn't John Lithgow play a tranny on Garp? Yes, he did. By the way, one of the best portrayals of transgender in a movie ever. Well, because and you know why?
Isn't sad.
No, you know why? Because he did it correctly, and he didn't offend anybody. He wasn't weak. He wasn't being put down. He was just that character, which was great. Say what you want about that whole issue. I don't really care. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's fine. Yeah. If you judge it by the story that they were trying to tell you in that movie, it works really well. Plus, he's less of a shithead than actually Garp, but we'll put that aside. He's less of a shithead than his mom. But,
yeah.
Whatever. Anyway.
I think the reason why I don't like The Life According to Garp is because I think it's on that same list of comedies that I just have a pure revulsion for. And the other one on that list is What About Bob? Oh, I hate that fucking movie.
Life According to Garp is a comedy? It's not a comedy.
No, but there are comedic elements to it.
I guess. I don't know. All right, cool. So, Fantastic Four starts with another scene that was done post-production. This scene did not exist in the script. They wanted to show the dramatic they had to destroy a planet. They couldn't destroy the Earth because once you destroy the Earth, the movie's done.
Well, I think it's more of just explaining the process, but also we're going to get to there is an inaccuracy there because showing this and then later they're like, well, this according to satellites, these multiple planets, they're now barren rocks. That's not a barren rock. The planet exploded.
Yeah, he kind of said that some of them are barren rock and some of them are like disintegrated or something. But again...
But also that wouldn't happen. Because if anything, you have to think of Galactus in many ways like the Tyranids in 40K on steroids.
Oh, a little bit worse because he does have that mission. He does have the machine that kind of drills through a planet and then feeds everything into his body, right?
Yeah, but that's what the Tyranids do with their bioships and biomass.
Yeah.
But really though, the Tyranids leave a rock. In many experiences, he just consumes the entire thing out of existence.
Yeah.
Depending on the interpretation of Galactus, because it's
because it depends who writes it and who actually draws it, right?
Yeah,
who's the illustrator?
Very different,
essentially.
Because there are instances where he does leave it just a husk, but there's instances where he literally just consumes the entire being of the entire planet itself. That's why, one of the major other cosmic beings, Ego, the living planet, was terrified of Galactus.
Because he didn't want to get eaten. Because he was full of energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've put this up. This is after the whole bit about the
Japanese fishermen
and the
ice.
snow in
there's
Giza.
snow in Egypt, yeah, and then the power outages in LA, which also like the power outages in LA
they don't need a Silver Surfer for them. Yeah,
you don't have to worry about that. They're happening anyway.
But this kind of sets up the whole bit about Sue Storm and Reed Richards are like these E entertainment, not E celebrities as in electronic celebrities. That is sort of like they're so well known. They're in Coach. So yeah, I know they got downgraded.
Really, like that's a big fucking note right there. Why the fuck would they be flying Coach? You got this one of the smartest men in the world. Obviously, he's a multi-millionaire at least.
Yeah, they literally have the Baxter building, which was they took over from Dr. Doom, so from Victor, right?
And also, like, why the fuck would Johnny be hanging around in an airport?
Yeah, why would Johnny be there? I mean, the rest of them, I get it. They can't fly. Why would Johnny be? He could be back home. And the fact that
they already made it clear to begin with as well.
I mean, they already established he's a dick, right?
They made the joke, which obviously, you know what, with how much I used to and sometimes still have to travel for flights, I'm sorry, this kind of made me laugh because you know me, Meth. I'm a bigger dude. So
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm like, listen, this is gonna suck.
Yeah, the whole bit about it, to be fair, like I said, it's a very short movie, and you would expect the first 30 minutes to set up the action for the last sort of like Act 2 and Act 3. Act 1 takes a long time, a big chunk of the movie. About, let's say, 30 minutes into the movie. You said, like backstage, you said about an hour to set up the last 30 minutes. Kind of.
Yeah, really.
Kind of.
It takes that long.
But I was sitting down with my wife after I made her come to watch the new Fantastic Four. We watched this Fantastic Four, and I told her, "Are you okay with watching this with me?" And she said, "Yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna do some homework or whatever she needs to do for her studies."
I'm really surprised that I did not get a WhatsApp message from your wife going,
"Oh yeah,
why do you make my husband watch these stupid fucking movies?"
I tell her not to send those every single week, but okay. No, I was like, there's a lot of stuff in the first 30 minutes that have nothing relevant to the rest of the movie at all.
Which I find funny too, because if you look at that, like Dell kind of exists still, but Nokia gone.
Yeah, and his
the corporate logo
PDF,
yeah,
which was literally 2 years or even 1 year removed from the iPhone, I guess. This is 2007. When was the first iPhone out? 2006?
No, it was 2007.
7, 8, maybe that around the time. So by the time they got to film this, their tech was already obsolete.
Yeah.
The whole bit about Johnny. Of course, also Johnny is the one that wants to drag Reed into this bachelor party.
But also too, where even Johnny mentions too, is like, why don't you just sell some of the inventions that you make? Just make us all super fucking rich, because like, I'm sorry, that PDF having that kind of efficacy in 2006, sell that to fucking Microsoft. Like they won't need the iPhone done immediately.
Yeah, and by the way, the copious amounts of Dodge promotional material.
Oh my God!
Wasn't even hidden. It was so overt. It was crazy.
The end there was like, what's that? Is it a Hemi? I'm like, I wanted to punch every single actor in the face that said that line. It's like, do you have any idea how cars work? Do you have any idea that a V8 would do fuck all and you die? immediately. You'd plummet to your death.
I like this part because this is so mid 2000s. It's
the in the club scene. Yes,
the in the not only the club scene, the fact that there's always that white dude with the Jew fro, which made me laugh so hard.
You know, it made me laugh so too when I was watching it because Audrey walked past me and goes like, "Wait, is that Kyle from South Park?"
Yes.
And I was like,
yes.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Kinda.
I mean, that whole bit about him being awkward with women was already established technically in the first film. So the whole point about Reed being a nerd, and then if you want to count this as a setup to that entire rant about nerds and jocks thing that he did with General Hager.
No, I don't think so. I think this was just a payoff for him to do the dance scene, which
again, wait, I want to use that because
I hate it. I hate everything about this.
This is partly why people didn't like this movie, because the rubber CGI bit, which was already kind of out of control in the first movie, went a little bit too much in this one.
It did, and there's a specific scene with the Ferris wheel that we'll talk about that makes no fucking sense, but we'll get to it. I do have to say though, I'm sorry, Tobey Maguire, you were outdone for worst dance scene in a comic book adaptation of all time. Spider-Man 3. I'm sorry, bud. It was again. He has one of those fucking goddamn Welsh names, Ioan Gruffudd.
Yeah, his name is like Ian, but because he's Welsh, it's written weird. Like, we can ask Bex, but
they're too busy shagging sheep to have proper English down there.
Correct. And Welsh people, we love you. We've got, me and All My Feelings have got plenty of Welsh friends.
Yes.
We heard way worse jokes from them.
Yeah, about themselves. So yes,
way worse. It's all in good fun and banter.
And one thing too is with these craters, they explain them as if they're strikes from meteors, not the fact like the actual impact and the depth of the impact that is involved. Because the depth of the impact that's involved would cause massive tectonic events that would have destroyed the fucking planet. Like they would have cracked the fucking Earth.
The problem with those craters, they look kind of cool and menacing. Oh my god, the planet's literally falling apart. Galactus doesn't need to put his tentacles inside the planet. He has a big machine to eat the planet with.
Yep.
So I didn't understand that. If Tim Story was such a comic book guy, why did maybe I don't know, because like I said, sometimes for movies that are complete disasters behind the scenes, people kind of talk and information gets out on stuff that happens. In here, you said finding information about this movie was scarce because all this back and forth between the studio and the director and the writers and maybe even the CGI creators, it was kind of kept hush hush. Otherwise, we would know who pushed for what. I know for a fact, because I saw it in 2 different places, that the whole changing places, changing powers thing was Avi Arad, the producer. It didn't even come from Tim Story.
Yeah.
And you said Tim Story was a big comic book guy, so he would know Galactus in various stages.
Yeah, that's why Tim let it go, because it was that's part of one of the major enemies that the Fantastic Four faced in the start of their entire narrative arc and throughout all of comics was Super Skrull, and he was the one who got all of the Four's powers at once.
Okay, but I'm talking about the machine. Why did they elect to go with these big holes so Galactus can push his tentacles? Ghostly, cloudy tentacles in there?
I think it was supposed to be sort of like just something to set up the premise of Galactus so they didn't have to actually ever show Galactus. Because without it, because really, when it comes to how Galactus consumes a world, it's more like the Herald shows up like 2 days before going, y'all fucked, y'all gonna die.
Yeah.
And then he just eats the Earth or eats the planet. That's what he does, or has it processed through the machine.
Yeah. That's
it. There's no setup and payoff. And also, we'll talk about the board, because the board issue of that being Norrin Rad's source of power, that's wrong.
Yeah, I
completely wrong.
All I know bits and pieces about stuff from like the comic book Fantastic Four, but I knew it doesn't come from his board. I knew it comes from Galactus giving him powers.
Yeah, because it gives him the power cosmic. Yeah, that's where he gets it from. The board is actually, it's been utilized in the comic books because he said it makes flight easier. That's it. That's the reason why he uses the board.
Yeah, so we get a little bit of the old Stan Lee
the
cameo appearance.
Joke. Yeah,
but this time around he's like, "Yeah, I'm supposed to be there. What's your name? I'm Stan Lee." Nah, you're not.
Well, I would say there was the bit in between where Doom gets the mask cut off, just as a setup.
Yeah, that's why I had that shot up in earlier. Apparently, it says that they built a lab. Now I'm pretty sure they mean the other lab where the Silver Surfer is.
Yes.
And it took about 3 weeks to build, and then they trashed it in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm pretty sure it's the Surfer lab, not this one. But this one was also trashed. So I have no idea. I liked him in the Shield. Oh, it's welcome,
Chiklis,
Becky.
yeah.
Welcome. Michael Chiklis was in the Shield, but before that, he was the Commish. And if you haven't seen the Commish, you should definitely watch the Commish.
Yeah.
He was. If you only know him from the Shield, the Commish is like the other side of that coin. Truly,
he's not he is actually the guy going, okay, you're too off the handle, turn in your badge, instead of being the guy being told to turn in his badge.
All right. Fair question, James. What is your favorite Stan Lee cameo? I don't remember them all, but what is your favorite if you remember?
Oh, God.
You want me to start? I have one personal favorite of mine where he is literally in a spacesuit with like a bubble spacesuit, and he's stuck on this rock, a planet rock. I don't remember from which movie it is. I think it's the Guardians of the Galaxy one.
Yeah, well, because he's actually is one of the Watchers. That's probably my favorite too, where it's revealed that Stan Lee was one of the Watchers the entire time.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. It's a sort of a fun one. The rest of them are okay.
Look, they're a lot of like tongue in cheek, like, oh my God, look, it's Stan Lee, and that's it.
Yeah. So the whole point of it all is, Reed Richards is sort of like on the sly commissioned to make this detector.
Yeah, but he's saying, no, I can't do that because I'm getting married on Saturday, and then to appease his wife, and then he's like,
of course he does it on the sly.
Fuck knows I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah, fuck that bitch. I'm doing this for the planet. Which,
okay, that's a cop out though. I
know. That's why it's sort of like you would kind of expect him to do it anyway, and then you see him doing it anyway. It's like, okay, of course he's gonna kind of sly sabotage a wedding. And then only later on, when they're about to get married for the first time, she even says that, well, the other 5 times we had problems. It was kind of like telling you, oh, this is why I'm so afraid about this wedding, because the other 5 was like, they got screwed over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say the one joke that was clearly for adults was when Johnny was talking to Ben about Alicia. It's like, well, you got to be careful. I want to make sure that I don't hear that she was killed during a rock slide.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. It's really tongue in cheeks. Not cheeks, cheek, not cheeks. Holy hell.
Well, I
it's
was
really
gonna say
tongue in cheek, and even like 13-year-olds would get that joke.
So, well, at the time too, this was the first comic book adaptation besides, oddly, Howard the Duck that was PG. This movie's PG.
Yeah, this full PG, right? Not PG, not even PG-13.
No, it's
they don't
PG.
even say. I didn't even notice, but they don't even say shit in this movie.
There is no. Ben Grimm specifically says crap.
Yeah, it says crap. Right. So yeah, really kid-friendly kind of thing, and nothing kicks off. I like the fact that this dude is there. This dude.
Yeah, fucking Brian Posehn, because Brian Posehn is also a giant fucking fan of comics.
I know.
So, like,
he's a big nerd.
First saw the movie, because even I knew that way back when this movie came out, because he had even stuff about on his stand-ups back in the day, like talking about his love of comics stuff. Like, oh, good for you, man.
Yeah,
good for you. This movie's dog shit, but good for you.
He's one of a few actors that are like really into nerdy stuff. Like, I don't remember the name of the actor. He's also like this, not tall, but like a big husky dude. I don't want to say fat because he's not really fat, but he's like a big husky dude. And he was a real big Star Wars guy.
Oh, Patton
Oswalt.
And
then he ended up in like stuff in Star Wars.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt was like that too. Yeah.
Patton Oswalt was like that. I don't particularly like Patton Oswalt, but same thing. Yeah. He was into that sort of thing, and because he was an actor and a friend of somebody in the production that is going to happen, it's like, oh, okay, let's put you on for a cameo or small part, and some people are connected.
Well, it's also too where it's just like, hey, I'm just happy to be here. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Now, I hated this because this would have killed 70 people already.
Oh yeah, everybody there dead
doorknob.
That helicopter moves way too fast for any of them to have any reaction time whatsoever. They would have been mulched.
Yep. And the whole chase between Silver Surfer and Human Torch.
And that's okay, but I'm glad you focused on this because this was the big teaser shot from the trailer.
I know. I watched the trailer today. It's a lot of this. That's why I really am reluctant, especially these days, to watch a trailer because I hate being told what's in the movie before I watch the movie. Fair. I really hate that. Like, I should not even, to me, like for my liking, I shouldn't even know who the casting is until I walk into the film.
Okay. I will say there are several films in recent memory that have had excellent trailers that don't automatically spoil the entire film. And one of them was one of our favorite films of last year. Longlegs.
Yeah.
The trailer for Longlegs, you're like, yep, I am definitely watching this.
I rewatched the
and Nosferatu was really good too, and The Substance as well. Yeah,
The Substance had a great trailer that kind of tells you what it is.
A little bit. It leaks like it ekes into the basically it ekes into the first part of the entire narrative, not the ending at all.
But what I was trying to get to in terms of story-wise, again, this is like minute 37-ish, 35. And we get to the point where Johnny's kind of like overwhelmed by the surfer, and then it kind of causes him to have
That's why
problem.
That's again the Silver Surfer resetting his powers due to the fact that he has the power cosmic technically as well. That's why it kind of reset him so he's able to absorb or manipulate the powers.
Yeah.
You see how the Super Scroll kind of feeds into this narrative that way.
Yeah, I get it. Where it kind of changes and things. But again, this is minute 35 or 34 when this whole bit between they're changing their powers. And again, it really doesn't set up too much. Just that last bit where they join all the powers within just Johnny, and then Johnny takes on Dr. Doom.
And that wasn't supposed to be the initial ending either.
It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't. It just, again, there's a lot of jumble between the original script, what they added in, and everything was added in sort of at the last minute.
Yeah.
And that is so goddamn sad because even today, for the new Fantastic Four, Kevin Feige admitted that they intentionally kept some of the script unwritten so they can actually write it when they're doing it. Which is very bad. Very, very bad.
I think that's bad, but excluding things to your point initially about trailers, I think that the Fantastic Four trailer did a very good job about getting you into it, because mentioning the fact that they said he asked too much, they wanted our son, and we said no, like that's a good setup where that made me actually want to go see the movie. Because otherwise I was like, oh, Pedro Pascal, meh. All the other actors, meh. Vanessa, she's really good in certain roles. I really love her in Peacemaker.
This is not a Fantastic Four First Steps review.
No, but I'm saying, but otherwise, other than that, I'm like, I could pass. But when they had that blip in there, I'm like, okay, now I kind of watch this. I want to see what the reaction is, how they're going to write themselves out of the corner that they painted themselves in narratively.
Okay. Now, this entire bit, this entire exchange only works because of the first movie.
Yes.
Because they set up this entire banter because of the first movie. If you haven't seen the first movie, you're like, you kind of get the scene, but it has a little bit more impact for both for Johnny and for the Thing.
Ben, yeah.
Ben, yeah. Sorry. They both have that banter that carries over from the first film. And the fact that Johnny really doesn't like the look of Ben at all.
Well, it's easy to mock. And that's what he does.
Easy.
Like,
it's
he's
easy
a
to
jokester.
mock. All right. We are.
And just as also as we've known from Deadpool and Wolverine, apparently Johnny Storm can talk some shit.
Yes. Correct. A lot of shit. That's why the PG thing kind of works wonders. And we're going to, I have to talk to you backstage about that, the Deadpool and Wolverine thing, but yeah, we'll put that aside. Anyway, this is the moment where Nornrad does his whole thing in a glacier. He comes up, and what do you know? It's Victor Von Doom.
Victor Von Doom, like finds him out, and like, well, you know,
and it's like,
wow,
I recognize this power. I've touched this. I've tasted this power, and he's like, give me this power, and he just shoots him across the fucking
you and I,
ice.
we can work together. We can work together. You know, we would be unstoppable. He's like, well, all that you know isn't an end. What do you mean by that? I'm like, what the fuck do you think I mean by that?
Yeah, your world is coming to an end. What do you mean by that? It's like, it's gonna end very soon. So he literally throws him across the iceberg, and then of course you see the Wolverine regeneration bit happening on Doctor Doom. And to be fair, I totally forgot that happened at all. And I saw that and I was like, what now?
They didn't like the makeup effects, and that was on Julian
was...
McMahon's face. So they're like, nope.
And at that point, Reed, because he's super smart, comes up with the plan about the holes. He kind of like, okay, if this hole is there, the next hole should be in London, of all places. Why? Because destroying that big Ferris wheel, the Eye of London, which I particularly don't like the design of, but to each his own.
I think it's a fucking eyesore. I think it's a fucking eyesore on what would be like if you panorama around like the actual city of London. It's still it's modern, but it still has those really like old world charms to it. And until you see this giant fucking Ferris wheel, and you're like, ew.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're like, okay, it's gonna be in London, so we're gonna grab the army and go on a helicopter ride.
Right.
Why I know. They flew there and then they took a helicopter.
There are two situations where they've gone via helicopter and into an area where you're like, first and foremost, again, why is Johnny in the fucking helicopter?
Yeah. Why is Johnny in the fucking helicopter?
Fly at actually supersonic speeds to improve it.
Yeah, well, they wanted him to have company. I don't know.
No, they wanted to feed lions so he could. They have the whole like, oh, you're breaking up the team.
Yeah.
Whatever. So much I get.
They needed somebody like Vin Diesel to say like, it's all about the family.
No, family.
Family.
Oh, Paul,
the O2 Arena is worse.
Like, it is up there as eyesores. It is up there. I still think the eye's worse, but this is the one thing that gets me, and get to where he is stretched all around.
There we go.
Reed Richards does not have super strength, nor does he have any kind of grounding. So what would happen is he would fly into that like a fucking rubber band.
Kind of. Isn't Reed supposed to have limits to how much he can stretch?
Eventually, yes, but
okay. Originally, no. You can go on forever as much as he can, right?
Well, no, actually, originally he was able to expand to as much as his mind was able to comprehend.
Okay, so essentially indefinitely because he was the smartest man alive. Okay, it makes sense.
But the thing is, but still though, that does not mean that he actually has density in order to hold it as a weight, as an anchor.
Yeah, but like I said, as soon as it happens, I was like, okay, Johnny's gonna super flame that thing and just make sure it doesn't collapse. But he doesn't do that at all.
No,
Reed does it essentially.
Because he flies into the surfer, and the surfer knocks him into Reed, and it transfers powers. It's supposed to be the narrative arc for the character of Johnny Storm, where he becomes more of an adult, essentially. But
yeah, it doesn't work.
And also, given how strong the thing actually is in the comics, yeah, he could have literally picked that up and bench pressed it.
Yeah, that's fine. Like it's all good. The fact that Sue is standing on her own force field above the river, the Thames, essentially.
Yeah.
Was kind of weird for me, but I get what they were going for. So she's creating such a big, enormous force field. It's taxing on her, but it also kind of saves her from collapsing into the river.
Yeah. Well, this one thing too is, which I hope they would have covered actually in the sequel or the trilogy, which they probably wouldn't have. Right there, that shot there with the River Thames being completely drained out. With the other effects of all of the other massive craters developed that leading into the core of the Earth,
Mm.
the aftermath.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
dude. I've said it. I've said it yesterday to my wife. All of these comic book movies need to stay within the comic book realms, because we had a discussion because she didn't like a few things from the new movie. Now, I'm good. Yeah. I know there's a lot of comparison, and I know we're not covering the first steps here, but let's bring it back to this movie. There's a lot of stuff in this movie in terms of real science that would never have worked. But people have to understand that at the end of the day, this is a comic book movie, and I'm giving it a discount, and I'm giving it lots of leeway here, okay?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is a comic book movie with comic book characters that can fly or have force fields or can stretch up to wherever their mind takes them. So if the sciencey science doesn't actually work, it's fine. If somebody could drill that far into the core of the Earth, the first hole would have caused massive ripples throughout the Earth.
Yeah.
Or okay, already.
It would have set up a chain of massive, well, first and foremost, massive tectonic shifts that would have actually caused probably several super volcanoes that are about to burst already to go. Boop.
Exactly. So just for these kinds of movies, you really have to step away from we'll call it the Nolan approach to superheroes, which you have to keep it real and in the real reality in the real world. Even he had a lot of stuff that really couldn't really happen, like connecting all the cellular phones in order to create a massive radar.
Hey, no spoilers for later in this year. Nah, no.
We will get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay, so that I will pass on my entire diatribe later when Galactus dies, and you can visibly see the Earth go wibble wobble. Like, so everyone's dead. That's
yes. There's lots of stuff that if this was true science, it would be over immediately. By the way, same goes for that helicopter that it essentially killed half
we talked about
the wedding party, but it really didn't because they had time to run. But okay. So essentially after the regeneration, according to the story, Victor went to General Hager that already hates Reed and was like, I can help you.
And also, too, like, why wouldn't immediately? First and foremost, I know he technically has diplomatic immunity because he is the head of a nation. That is true in the narrative. So technically, he does have diplomatic immunity. But also, why would you be like, you're a sociopath and a megalomaniac? Why the fuck would I ever trust you with any source of ultimate power? You're like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. We'll let you test on it, but I'll keep you under gunfire when it's proven that gunfire does fuck all against him.
Yeah. I love this shot because
regardless
of what you want, Julian is great in playing a villain.
Oh yeah, he's good.
He is great in playing a villain.
Yeah. Well, even especially like, if you watch Nip Tuck, 99% of the time, Christian Troy is a villain. He is not a good man. He is an asshole.
Yeah. And you mentioned this part where he talks about him and his main squeeze
Alicia,
in a very inappropriate way until somebody bangs the table and nearly. I don't know how he didn't destroy it.
What I'm saying is, I'm glad that you have somebody at the end there. But he's not. He's more like, hey, if she could see, this wouldn't be happening, buddy. That's what he's kind of referring to in a way, in a Johnny way.
Yeah. Okay. This moment, the only reason why she didn't go on her knees and made sure Richard Reed is completely relaxed and I'm using lots of euphemisms here because this is PG, is because this was PG. She like relaxed him by telling him to relax.
Well, then
That
she was getting. Well, the thing is, she was alluding to the fact that she was going there, but he got the like, oh,
he got the
pulse,
idea.
a tachyon pulse, got it, and then like he gets the idea, and then Sue walks in on Doom's side project with the basically a glove to control the board, which
he took from the idea of a tachyon field. Again, some like story elements don't actually mesh well together. Because
this was actually from the actual bits in the comics where he did control it by using the gauntlet with the tachyon field.
Okay,
so that's where they got the idea from, but they just kind of threw it in there willy-nilly.
Yeah, that's the point. If you're using an original material idea, okay, fine, good. You're paying homage to the comic books. Fine, love that. The problem is the way that they woven it into the story made it sort of like, wait a minute, did he steal it or got the idea from? They don't explain how he got there.
He got there.
He just got there. Did he just steal it or was he?
Because also it seems like he was astounded with how Reed was able to understand the concept of the pulse and how that could control the board or like break him from the board. And we do that one little bit with obviously with Bo Garrett and Chris Evans, which was interesting because at one point in time they did date. I think it was actually during the movie.
Oh, so the actors, the real actors.
Yeah.
Dated. Oh, okay. By the way, veering stuff off course. Watch the movie again, not you, the audience. She either has the worst pasties ever or the fattest nipples ever. Am I joking? No. Who noticed it? Not me. All right.
This is why Mrs. Meth is our ancillary member.
Yes. Yes, correct. So they get to essentially yet another hole in the ground, which looks way bigger than the London hole, but putting that aside, they could not find Magneto there. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Or his band of merry men.
Or it's the facility, the X Factor facility.
Yeah.
Well, the facility where Wolverine was turned into X.
I do, however, love this bit.
Oh, the bear bit, rawr, run along, boo boo.
Yeah,
which is
that was funny.
This is a fun bit because this is actually paying an homage to the original Fantastic Four comics.
Wow!
Because Ben Grimm actually did randomly fight a bear in the woods in one comic book
so
scene.
He actually fought a bear?
No, because a bear attacked him, and as a thing, because he was like understanding his strength, and he just threw the bear.
Wait a minute, was it like Fantastic Four #1?
No, this is like number 5 or 6.
Oh, okay. So early on.
Because they're still trying to like get their bearings, but no, there was a thing. Yeah, that. And I think that also too, with this is gonna throw monkey wrenches in here, but side story. So Alicia, Ben's girlfriend.
Yes.
Her father is the puppet master in the comics. And he was also going to be playing a part later on in Fantastic Four movies. Now, the thing about the Puppet Master is...
Stop.
Yep.
The Puppet Master?
Yeah. He can control...
Wow, Fantastic Four in the 60s were like, oh, the Mole Man, the Puppet Master.
Oh, yeah. They had... It was like... Well, that or alliteration, like the Silver Surfer. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I get you.
Yeah.
I get you.
But the thing is, there actually was where... I thought it was a Battle World or something where Ben Grimm actually did lose his powers and he did fight a bear. as Ben Grimm. But yeah.
Okay.
So
it was sort of like a double whammy kind of a thing.
Fighting around, yep.
I love the fact that he said like a run along boo boo, and I was like, are you gonna say Jellystone Park at some point?
I was like, well, that would have been great. Well, I was actually wondering, so like, why don't you get a picnic basket?
Yes. And for those of you who don't understand what we're talking about,
Yogi Bear,
Hanna-Barbera. That's watch
Yogi
it.
Bear.
Yogi Bear.
That's,
right.
This also, moment. Nora and Rad was probably looking at her eyes, going, "Girl, you ain't from this planet."
All right. So
no, talking about Jessica Alba with her blue contacts.
Yeah,
girl, you're not from here.
Yeah. This point, again, this goes back straight into the comics where he looks at Sue Storm and all he sees is his wife Shala Ball.
Yeah.
And the woman he essentially gave up to protect and be the herald for, just to protect his own planet, his own wife and kid, I think, right? He has a kid?
They
no?
do have a child.
Yes?
Yes,
okay.
They do.
And again, they don't necessarily explain why he has this turn with him looking and talking to her, right? And you don't need to, because that explanation comes, at a later stage.
This is the one thing I did find that was really good, because it was done organically. Because he saw something that like, oh, this is a remnant of my past and what I'm trying to save, and she reminds me of that, and maybe I'm not the monster that I should be. And then later, after the Tachyon field and the conversation that Sue has with him, it kind of just moves that plotting and that pace along. So like, there's a lot of like, again, the first about 35 minutes of the movie could have been gone and you would have lost nothing.
Yeah. And essentially the next 30 minutes, it comes up to this point. It ends with this point where they manage to activate the Tachyon field, get rid of the Silver Surfer, like detach him from the surf, because Victor showed everybody that the surfboard is actually the power or where he generates the power from, which you said was dumb.
It's just completely wrong. It's they said that like, no, he says that, well, this is the beacon.
Yeah.
James, thanks for joining us, bud.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Watch the replay. We'll be done soon. Anyway. All right. So, and that kind of leads to the fact that Victor essentially wants this surfboard. He doesn't really care about the Silver Surfer. He leaves the army to torture him.
Yeah, because the one guy says, well, under the Geneva Convention, we can't do
this to humans, but you're not human.
But you're not a human. So it's like,
and you know what? If this was like the 80s super cheese, Nora and Rad would have said, give me your worst or something, right? And he seems to suffer, but nothing really
that bad.
Him. Yeah. I don't know. That whole torture scene was fucking stupid.
Super weird. The one thing too is in the interim, just as an aside, moving back a little bit, just one question I have to pose there, because it made no sense in the concept of everything. So they did have kind of an interaction with an extraterrestrial being or concept in the first film, but not actually intelligent life. They had, in this film, they had different satellite footage of different planets going, well, there was life here, and it's gone. So now you know that there are aliens out there, and you're like, this is not the biggest fucking news ever.
The one thing, and I didn't pay attention at that particular point, did Reed say he got those photos from the military, or he got those himself?
He got those himself.
So Reed knows there's life outside of the planet, but the military doesn't because he doesn't share that information with them.
Possibly? I didn't.
That point made no sense, and I was not paying attention.
And also, to be fair, eventually, what happens to Reed Richards later? He becomes the Uber monarch or something. There is an entire universe where Reed Richards just like basically controls everything, and he's like the biggest totalitarian dickhead ever.
Yeah. So the point of this is like, are we prisoners? Well, technically no, but you're not allowed to leave.
No, but also like wouldn't they be like, hey, I want to make sure I can see the lady at all times because she can turn invisible.
But the guards were set up to be dum-dums anyway.
Yeah.
Like most guards, I guess.
We get some DVDs. Like, do you have a DVD player in there? Do you have a TV in there? No and no. Can we get some popcorn? Yeah, okay, I guess. You're in the middle of fucking Siberia, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, they set it up in Siberia for why not Latveria?
Yeah, it should be in Latveria. Well, because also like this is a U.S. military led operation in Siberia, which is the territory of Russia. So like,
no, absolutely not. No. Oh God. Anyway, yeah, I really checked out at this point. Like,
you're good.
I was really annoyed with nothing. Like, I was really annoyed with there was little to nothing happening, even in the first hour, even with the saving of the Eye of London and all that stuff. There was not a lot of things happening in this movie at all. Until the last 30 minutes of the movie, where everything kind of culminates into
a speed rush
this danger. Yeah, and it just goes fast from thing to thing to thing. So we get that conversation between Nornrad and Sue, and she asks him his name, and he still doesn't say it.
Which
until they rescue him.
I would say the only good thing here is the fact that it was shown that Nornrad inherently had some powers because he was able to sense Sue even though she was invisible.
Yeah.
And like something.
So he does say, well, he is coming.
Yeah.
And this is the only point in the movie where you kind of get the Galactus silhouette.
Yeah, you kind of see that. Yeah, the helmet a little bit.
Kind of see the helmet like it's supposed to be. But let's face it, as soon as that shadow goes across and the stupid rings get mushed up all over the place, that's basically he turns into a cloud. Or he was a cloud originally, and somehow they had that silhouette on.
Which we talked about this last week, how I really disliked the way that they really did the version of Parallax dirty in the Green Lantern. It's exactly what they did to Galactus in this one. They turned him into a giant fart cloud.
Why was the decision made for him to be a cloud? I could not find any information.
Only reason is because it was too easy to do. Make him an ominous but ambiguous threat, not something that was easily capable for us to understand.
But the thing about Galactus is he can be as big as in you can see his head coming up from the horizon big. But also he can be like a kaiju running around in the city. But he can also be as big as a man, isn't he? Like a tall man.
That's depending on whether or not he has. It's some. Oh God, I can't remember.
Don't go into heavy into the comics. Is it or isn't it possible for him to be as big as a man if he chooses to be?
I don't believe so. I think it's only possible if he has oddly enough, a device that was created by Reed Richards.
Okay. The whole point is most of the reason why he is a cloud and not an actual corporeal, the way we know Galactus, or at least the top half of him, is the fact that the studio could not agree of a style that they want him in. And that's so goddamn strange, where most of the things here are pretty much close to what you see in the comic. Like
I think
the more
modern
comics, I would say, not the older comics. Okay.
I would say anything post like 97, 98. Yeah, it's pretty well done. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't like the Doom mask at all. Plus, it's not supposed to be the entire face, isn't it? Isn't it just supposed to be like?
Oh no, it's his entire face. You can only see his eyes, and it's depending on what interpretation it is too. That there is actually no disfigurement underneath there. He actually or he has one tiny scar, but he's such a megalomaniac and perfectionist that he has to hide his face in the world.
Yeah, that was covered in the first movie, where he just couldn't stand the fact that he has a tiny kind of silvery scar because of the cosmic power or the cosmic whatever. Yeah, this was a fun bit when they were trying to escape.
Which I find funny, because so that means essentially that Mr. Fantastic is technically invulnerable then.
Kind of.
Unless he's atomized.
Or spaghetti-wise, but we'll put that aside.
Yeah.
God damn it. That movie was so fucking awful. All right, so Reed Richards whistles to the Fantastic car, and the Fantastic car is essentially a big foam rubber car
thing, which also too would not fucking work because there's no goddamn windshields, and you guys cannot breathe in that kind of.
Yes, and the fact that it's got Dodge all over it,
and the guy, he actually said, "Hemi." A Hemi.
Now, the fight about the pilot thing. Ben is a pilot, but also Johnny's a pilot too, right?
Johnny was, but it's more important the fact that you have to remember that on the initial excursion, Ben was the pilot for the expedition because he was the most qualified for it. So yeah, it's like there's no you can't fight me on this.
Yeah. Paul is like, Chrysler sucks.
That's true as well.
Kind of fair, I guess. I don't know. Never owned a Chrysler machine before. All right, let's do a stop because the movie is about to end.
We're getting there, and we're about to get to the bit where terrible puns start coming in. Where you go, okay, it's checkout time.
I was really checked out at that point. But let's play our second game of the night. You know it, you love it. It's called Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
Screen Fighter is where we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good or both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with your significant other or your family. Two movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? National Lampoon's Van Wilder or Beer Fest?
Oh, this is actually really, really, really fucking difficult because I know like both of these ones.
Finally.
I do love that in Germany it was just called Party Animals.
All right. Beer Fest, which I thought it was a National Lampoon's movie.
Oh, no.
It kind of is, but it's not.
No, it's actually it's a Broken Lizard movie that the same guys who made Super Troopers.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. But it's kind of like of that vein. That's what I'm talking about.
It's definitely like they took the National Lampoon's kind of idea or concept and kind of went on their own path and made their own stories. Yeah.
All right. And I think Van Wilder is kind of the last real National
big
Lampoon's
one.
movie.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And it's also national that Van Wilder was basically just the story of Bert Kreischer. That's what it was.
Shut up. Let's
go.
go.
Seriously, no. They took a lot from the Rolling Stone article that they wrote about Bert.
Okay.
Being the nation's #1 college party animal back in like the 90s. Yeah.
But it's essentially Ryan Reynolds starring in a Ryan Reynolds movie, playing Ryan Reynolds again.
Definitely being Ryan Reynolds in a Ryan Reynolds movie.
All right, choose.
As much as I loved Van Wilder, because it came out right before I went to college, it has to be Beer Fest, which was actually dropped right when I was graduating from college. So
Beer Fest.
Beer Fest. Oh, that movie is so fucking fun. It's so stupid too. One of these times we'll do a Broken Lizard month and we'll have a lot of fun with it.
All right. I love Beer Fest. I think it's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go with Van Wilder though.
Okay. No,
I love me some Ryan Reynolds. And Paul Harley is like, I'm going to be in the middle. So if it's fall, I'm going to watch Beer Fest. But if it's spring, I'm going with Van Wilder.
All I'm saying is, yeah, I look exactly like Landfill. You know what? Just call me Landfill. Just to make it easier for continuity.
All right. I'm going to press Beer Fest because I respect you. All right. Despicable Me or Aladdin, The Return of Jafar, which was the original Aladdin
sequel.
2.
Yeah. Oddly enough, I think the third one, which was the King of Thieves, was actually my favorite of the Aladdin movies when I was a kid. I still would have to go with the Return of Jafar, even though I thought Despicable Me wasn't bad.
You guys are awful. It's Despicable Me all the way because Illumination trumps Disney every day, all day.
That's true.
However, Paul Harley has got the deciding voice. It is Return of Jafar selected. Oh.
Wow,
movies.
We actually just talked about both of these movies not too long ago.
Two movies that I don't particularly like.
Yeah.
One of them is boring. One of them is stupid. Choose. It is, of course, Battle Los Angeles or Superman Returns.
Okay, so Brandon Routh, I'm sorry, buddy. They just gave you just a shitty version of Kal-El. They just did. And Kevin Spacey, terrible. And that
he
that
could have been a great fucking Lex.
Yeah, he could have.
I'll hold my judgment.
If it wasn't about like Superman Returns was also just basically a land scheme. That's what it was, and it was made out of kryptonite. And the entire time I was watching that, I was talking to my ex-fiance at the time, saying, "I'm taking a spin doctors right now."
So you're choosing Battle Los Angeles?
Yeah. Dumb as shit, but you know what? At least it's moderately entertaining.
All right. So I did not like Battle Los Angeles at all.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Hey, Paul's with you on this one then.
I thought Superman Returns was boring, and I hated the fact that such a great actor, Kevin Spacey, could have been a great Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Great. His problem is the fact that he was trying to do an impression of Gene Hackman, which you can't do an impression of
Gene Hackman. No.
At the time, the best Lex Luthor.
But right now, the second best. Yeah.
But right now, he's the second best, which is very odd.
Just because you're saying he looks like me, but does not mean he's the best, but still.
Looks exactly. I've seen you in real life. I've held you in my arms. Anyway, Brendan Routh has literally been fed a shit burger of a script. Everybody did. And for the most part, even with all the stupid stuff, it could have been good, but land again and I'm not a subscriber to the Kevin Smith version of Superman When Did You Rape Me thing.
Oh, yeah.
But he had something. I'm still going to watch Superman Returns.
Fair enough.
All right, next. It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, or Sunshine Cleaning. I have not watched Sunshine Cleaning.
You'll absolutely adore it. It's about two ladies going and they clear up crime scenes. It's actually a lot of fun. It's a very funny movie.
All right. Charlie Brown is a Great Pumpkin, which is the Halloween. Halloween?
Yes.
No, it's is it Halloween? Yes,
obviously, it is. The Great Pumpkin. Yeah, it's
okay.
Halloween. It's Halloween.
I get confused with Pumpkin Pie, which is literally a month later in Thanksgiving. Never mind. And house guest with Phil Hartman and Sinbad.
And also one of the best puppies in the world, a Roddy named Mosey.
Yeah. Well, isn't it obvious? It's house guest. It's easy. I haven't watched that movie in a fucking long time.
Even though, like, I would watch, It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown every single Halloween. I'm not going to sit down and watch it on a random Thursday in April.
All right, Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. That's the second one?
Second. That's
second
the first
one, right?
Is that the first portrayal of Moriarty in that Holmes universe,
No, the first one had Moriarty, I think. I don't remember.
Or was the second when they actually had the confrontation again?
Yes,
anyway,
I think the second one had the confrontation.
Robert Downey Jr. one, because I'm sorry, Hero. Listen, that film is great to watch once for the spectacle of it. Otherwise, it is the most boring fucking movie.
I agree, and I don't even like Sherlock Holmes. Not both of them. I don't like. The problem is, it's too actiony for Sherlock Holmes.
Well, because they put Guy Ritchie to direct Sherlock Holmes.
Guy Ritchie does have nothing. Need not touch this thing.
And they were not terrible films, but it's like Sherlock Holmes is supposed to be a slow burn, not fisticuffs in an underground London fight ring in the first film. It's like, no.
Anyway, well, last one. I Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, or Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs. That's 3. Yeah, it says 3. It has a big 3 on it. I'm guessing it's 3. I don't think I even watched it.
That's when the Jog Leguizamo's marmot, whatever, had a brood of kids.
Sloth? You mean?
Whatever.
He's a sloth. Never mind. It's Chuck and Larry, and we're going to end this just for goddamn Ice Age.
That's bad.
Anyway, it's
couple bad pairings there.
Well, it is what it is. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. All right. Let's be done with this movie. So the Fantastic Four break out of this Siberian prison, and on
the Fantastic car, and then they apparently this fucking thing has to move at least hypersonic speeds, at least Mach 2, Mach 3. Because they move from Siberia
to the Great Wall of China,
and it's still, there seems to be no actual visible fucking covering where they can fucking breathe at all.
Look. All I'm saying is, when I watched this on the TV, it was supremely dark. This is light, and you can see the car.
Yeah.
On my TV, I couldn't see the car. I can barely see the silhouette of the Great Wall of China.
This reminds me so much of AVP2 Requiem, where I had to turn the actual contrast and light up on my monitor to watch it because it's impossible to see shit without it.
Yeah, some of these movies are too dark. Not this one. Like, you could see the card, you could see the thing, but on my TV, it was dark. The two cliffs that kind of collapse, I couldn't even see that. I heard they're collapsing, and I remember the scene, but I couldn't really see it on my TV. It's fucking odd.
So we do
My
have the
TV is
fight in
pretty
there,
good.
and there were two
And
terrible.
they end up, so they were in the Great Wall of China, and then they end up in Shanghai. You can tell it's Shanghai because it has the tower.
Yeah, which is how many hundreds of miles away from the actual Great Wall?
Fuck ton? Like a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
And they end up essentially in Chinatown.
And
It looks like
where the entire time when the first time I watched this and also the first time I reviewed, I'm like, are they trying to say that they went all the way back to Chinatown? As in, like I was thinking they're back in New York where the Baxter Building is.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it's a Chinatown rather than it's Shanghai.
It's just like, because no, and then like the giant gaping anus that is Galactus is coming to consume the anal bead that is the Earth now, apparently.
Now, this is the closest you can get to the Galactus eating machine.
The machine, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After this point, it just is a cloud with tentacles trying to eat the Earth somehow, instead of just burrowing through and just eating everything. Oh my God.
Okay, I would say, I do have to say, there is just one terrible Julian McMahon pun in the fight outside of Chinatown that when he says it, it's ADR to the point where you can tell that he has some severe resignation where he goes, "Let's go for a spin." My career.
And then he spins them like a tornado.
Yeah.
Ugh. So Sue comes in. He throws this spear at Norrinrad, and Norrinrad essentially doesn't have any powers.
But he still does.
The point is, in this version, he doesn't have any powers. And she creates the force field, but because that spike came from, like, with
the power cosmic,
it could surfboard powers, it penetrated and essentially killed her.
And see, what the weird thing too is, actually in the comics, Norrinrad is capable of actually regenerating someone from the dead. He did so without being the Herald. Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah, and of course they have that moment where they join hands and Johnny gets everybody's powers, and he fights. I can't get a decent shot of him with this.
Where he does the full wraparound bit where he turns invisible in order to sneak around, wraps around him like Mr. Fantastic, but still has his flame powers and beats him up with the thing, and then incinerates the tachyon device on his wrist.
Yeah, at this
allowing
point,
him to control the board, and yeah.
He controls the board. He loses control of the board because he loses the tachyon gloves.
And the only good bit about this is I love the setup and payoff of Ben Grimm as Michael Chiklis going up on the crane, because he told him in the bar, "I want to go out fighting or go out holding Alicia." And he goes, "Listen, kid, not going out without a fight." And he was able to at least have the crane bit. Like, okay, I'm like, that's at least some good character payoff motivation there. That's fine.
And then, of course, because they had to set up the point where Norrinrad has the board for powers, he had to climb on the board in order to revive Sue Storm, and then sort of like say that, "Oh, I'm gonna make it right. I'm gonna sacrifice myself for the greater good," or whatever. Because you remind me of my wife, so I will just sacrifice myself so my wife will also
the entire time
die. So you could have done that and still save your wife.
Well, the thing too, he couldn't, because technically he didn't really have that encounter with Sue until the tachyon field. So I kind of get where the narrative is going there, but also like at any point in time too, do you not see anyone else on any other planet with life going, hey, you know what? Maybe this is kind of fucked up.
No, because in this version, he has no conscience until he looks at Sue Storm.
Because he goes like, hey, you know what? Kind of looking at you, remind me of someone I knew once. So you know what? I'm going to save you.
To be honest, that's every man on Earth looking at Jessica Alba. So it kind of fits in terms of story.
So basically, like, you make my pee-pee feel funny. I'm going to go ahead and save you.
My
Yay.
small pee-pee is not big pee-pee. Because I saw Jessica Alba. Her and her very accurate blue eye contacts.
It's like, I'm pretty sure you're an alien. I'm still pretty sure.
Yeah.
The cosmic rays had something to do with your brain. But so we have that whole bit too where he flies into Galactus and it turns into that red amorphous blob.
Yeah.
Where I was hoping that, because I hadn't watched it in years, on my first review, I'm like, please just at least show the mask with the face at the center. But no, it's still just me. And they go, well, then he just gets, and he concentrates all of his cosmic power, but he gets the cosmic power from Galactus, so that would work.
This whole last bit did not make any sense story-wise, even if you don't know anything about the comic books. That also whole bit made no sense at all.
If you watch the film, when Galactus expires, there is a giant fucking blast wave that would have been equivalent to about probably a good several solar flares right outside of the planet Earth. We're talking billions dead instantly.
I know. They didn't even do the Praxis wave correctly.
No, they didn't.
Not even joking. And that point of it, you don't know if he just sends them both somewhere else or he actually killed him. If he actually killed him, that's an Omega level fucking entity
almost
that just exploded.
We're like, no, it wouldn't be our solar system. It would be half of our galaxy.
I don't know if half the galaxy, but damn, it's not just your regular superhero exploding.
Well, I mean, somebody who eats pumpkins for snacks, yeah, you can kind of be like, yeah, maybe. But still, it's like, we're not going to be okay. Oh, and also, yeah, the giant fucking holes in the world. And, yeah.
Now, there's one important thing about this whole bit. So they landed in China.
This is a Japanese-themed wedding. What the actual fuck, Reed? What the fuck?
Why? It made zero sense. Not only that, their minister is the same minister from New York.
So they said, like, no, we need to have a quickie one. So they flew in that guy from across the world,
but
and
not
also
fly back.
And also at this time too, the world is falling apart. There's no denying that. And like, okay, get to the end because they even say, well, Venice is sinking into the Adriatic. Like, yeah, it's repercussions of you not being good at your fucking jobs.
All right.
Then,
so
we have the joke with Garrett catching the bouquet, well, about to catch the bouquet, and Johnny setting a fire. Oops, it's a reflex. Gotcha.
I'm not ready to commit to a long-term relationship. Yeah, we know. God damn it, we know. Anyway,
which is so sad too, because Chris Evans this same year was in a really great film called London, which I fucking love, and one of these days we'll have to review it.
Yeah, there's no end credit scene at all. You can see me scrolling, right?
It's not in yours then. No, but there's one where Norenrad is outside and he wakes up and the board comes to him. And
Right. Before we end up, there's one thing we mentioned at the start of this thing, and we didn't quite do a follow-up. Jessica Alba, putting away the wig and putting away the contact lenses, throughout this movie was wearing a hell of a lot of makeup.
Yeah.
Even when she had the fake zit that she kind of made disappear because force field blah, she was wearing a slut amount of makeup, like a whore amount of makeup.
I would say no. It's almost a comical clown-esque. Like this girl, that amount of foundation and blood, girl.
And Jessica Alba is a naturally good-looking female. She is gorgeous. Have you seen a picture of her without a makeup, without any makeup at all?
She's a beautiful woman.
Gorgeous. And I'm talking about, like, this is 2006.
So this is like right after Sin City.
This is prime Jessica Alba. This is just a crime against a human's face. And there are moments where she's wearing very small amount of makeup. Well, so that final battle, she's wearing the smallest amount of makeup, and it suits the character. Anywhere else, way too much, like a thick fucking amount of makeup, and it's very off-putting.
Like even here, it looks clown-esque, where it does look almost like clown makeup, like pancake makeup. But it's bad. It's really bad.
It just makes her character look ugly and not beautiful.
Yeah.
And she is Sue Storm. She's supposed to be like the epitome of beauty, or at least somewhat.
No, she's supposed to be an attractive lady, but it's not like her beauty is not supposed to be her main feature. It's like also she's a brain that could
but
be with Reed Richards and understand him on a level. Like she is not as intelligent as Reed Richards, but she is able.
No, she's not dumb. She's not a dumb blonde.
No, but she's able to comprehend and be on him on a level where their relationship makes sense. Because you can't have like the most intelligent woman in the world with some random lady. It would not work.
Well, the fuck you say. Don't I know it? Anyway, that kind of brings us to the end of the show. Holy smackaroos. Can't believe it's an 1.5-hour movie, yet we managed to stretch it to 2 hours yet again.
We're gonna get it there.
Yet again. All right. Any last words before we wrap things up and we kind of, find our way to a bigger, better month?
Don't watch any of the films we watched this month. Full stop.
No. You can watch them not.
We would not recommend any of them at all.
All right.
Put it that way.
So, and because you're a busy man, we didn't even manage to discuss the changes that you suggested. I'm going to revert back to the original thing without the proposed changes. So without my changes, without your suggested changes, we're going back to what it says on the board. I've put it up so you can see it. Okay. So take off your suggestions, take off my suggestions. The list is what it is. So next month, we are kind of, not all, kind of in keeping with the comic book theme. We kind of said at the beginning of the year, we've got lots of comic book stuff to go. But in August, it's going to be 2s are better than 1s. What do we mean? All of the movies for next month are going to be sequels that are better than the originals, according to us. Because I've seen lists that are what the fuck lists. which were, by the way, one of them had Rise of the Silver Surfer is better than Fantastic Four original movie.
Which is actually true. That's fair. That is fair.
I don't like that, but we'll put it that way. Anyway, next week, we are going to cover X-Men 2. So go watch X-Men 2 and come back to us and we'll talk about it. And remember, guys, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. We'll see you next week. You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.